Hello, and welcome to Nomadic Diaries, the Reentry Series. I'm Doreen Cumberford, the host.
And I'm Linda Mueller, the co-host.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nomadic Diaries Reentry Series. This is a special 30-day podcasting series where we are going to issue one podcast per day on the subject of repatriation or reentry. But first of all, my name's Doreen Cumberford. I am the host of Nomadic Diaries, and I have invited my friend and my colleague, Linda Mueller, to be the expert guest and co-host on this podcast. Welcome, Linda.
Hi, Doreen, and hi, everyone who's listening. I'm so excited to be here. I think it's going to be a really fun month.
Good. I'm looking forward to lots of interaction and speaking to and meeting lots and lots of you people who are preparing for repatriation or are currently in the midst of it. Aren't you, Linda?
I am. And, I think one thing that's really important to throw in there is that there's people that are going through it, but there's also a lot of people out there that have already moved back to their passport country and they're thinking, what do I do now? Or wait, you're bringing up some things that I haven't really thought about that might help me. So I think it's pretty exciting that we have something for everyone.
And, I think that a lot of people have discovered Nomadic Diaries and have considered it a go-to resource for people who have embraced the international lifestyle or are dreaming of embracing the international lifestyle. But when we hear the word repatriation, it fills us with dread and gloom and doom. Have you heard that expression, or have you heard people comment on that, Linda?
Definitely. And I've experienced it. That's part of the reason I'm here. I think a lot of us think, oh, it'll never come. I'm living somewhere for 3 to 5 years and the future doesn't matter. Maybe it won't come, but it does come for many of us, this repatriation episode or portion of the international lifestyle. So I think we're providing quite a few resources and stories to help people think about what they're going to go through or perhaps are in the process of going through.
So we're really having this conversation today to invite you to join us and participate and critique and ask questions and make commentary all the way along, because it's not just our journeys, it's all of everybody has a unique journey. Not one repatriation is similar to another. We all have unique parts to them.
That's very true.
We'd love you to join us throughout the month, and we're going to let's cover some of the things we're going to include in this, Linda.
Sure. Well, on Mondays, we're going to announce our focus for the week. We have 4 weeks and we have 4 different topics that we're going to cover to some extent. Like you said earlier, we're going to provoke thought and hopefully commentary.
Yes, and you might find that some of them are like in your wheelhouse, something you're really thinking about, and others not so much. So we just invite you to enjoy this and just dip in and dip out as and when it meets your need and your interests. So Mondays, we're going to have focus, and Tuesdays, we're going to have guest experts. I'll just give you a couple of examples. One of our guest experts is Craig Storti, and he originally wrote one of the very first books on repatriation back about 25 years ago, and that was called The Art of Coming Home. And we also have people like Jerry Jones from Culture Blend. It's been a delight to interview them. What do you think, Linda? Did you enjoy those interviews?
I really did, and I learned a lot from them. And I also went and bought some of the books because I realized there's more to learn. But we have some other guest experts, too, that are going to bring a different perspective than people have probably experienced. And I think that's really going to be exciting for people because it's really, for me, it was very thought-provoking. I think a lot of us, when we think about repatriation, have an idea of, oh, we move back to our home country under a certain set of circumstances, but we're here to show you that there's a lot of different unimaginable circumstances that people find themselves in at times that take them back to their passport country.
This is very true. We have interviewed people who had to return under circumstances that were very dire and very different and very dramatic, who were ushered out of a country within 48 hours. And of course, that brings up lingering memories of COVID because that happened across the globe to thousands of expatriates and nomads. What are we going to do on Wednesdays, Linda?
So on Wednesdays, we have some readings that are related to arriving well, which I think is something we would all like to do when we repatriate. So there's a little bit of, coaching even involved there, where there's some questions that are pretty thought-provoking that we hope will support people that are going through or potentially going to go through at some point repatriation.
Thursdays, we're calling Suitcase Stories because they are real life stories of people. Many of them have written books in the expat or the nomadic lane. Many of them have lived overseas for 2 years, anything from 2 years to almost 30 years. And so that's a kind of a variety of where you can listen in to someone who has already done this and perhaps gain some insight to what they learned and how it moved their life forward. What are we doing on Fridays?
Fridays are a little bit of a surprise. We're calling them Footloose Fridays, and we're going to mix it up. So you'll have to listen in to see what we're going to send you.
That is very true, because we actually have lots of recordings. We probably have more than 30 days of recordings. So we're going to surprise you on Fridays. And Saturdays,
we're back to Suitcase stories. And, you mentioned that we have stories from people that have gone through repatriation. There's at least one interview that we did with somebody who's in the thick of repatriating right now, which I found really interesting. And it really brought up a lot for me myself to hear what this person's going through right now in the thick of it. And I think it'll be really helpful for people that haven't gone through it yet to hear what it's like when you're in the middle of it.
And also on Sundays, we're going to have inspiration. Now, the inspiration is just, my belief is that inspiration surrounds us, but it's often challenging to kind of focus on something that will deliver inspiration because it's a sort of a woo-woo topic. So those are pretty short for the most part. And we've tried to make these, what's the average length of most of these recordings, Linda?
Less than 20 minutes, I would say, or maybe 15 to 25 minutes in general, but around 20 or a little bit shorter.
And any of them that are longer than that, there's a couple of readings that might be a little bit longer, but anything that is longer, we have kept it in because we felt like there were golden nuggets built into the midst of that content. It was either writing by someone who is a beautiful writer who has experienced and had something very, very deliberate to say about repatriation. And so we hope that the length of a couple of these will not deter you from participating.
Right. And I actually wanted to add to that we are going to put a lot of different resources and whatnot that are related to the episodes in the show notes, because we really want this to be, we want it to be entertaining and light and something that you can listen to and enjoy, but we also want it to be practical. So we want there to be as many resources to help you as possible in our show notes. So please don't miss those.
And just to back up a little bit, we should probably tell our audience a little bit about why are we talking about repatriation? What is our, Simon Sinek wrote that book about, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years ago. What is your why? So let's just revisit our why and then our hopes and dreams for people who are listening in. Go ahead and tell us why are you talking about repatriation, please?
Well, for me, originally, it was because I wanted to share everything that I've learned from my own repatriations. And there's been quite a few under various scenarios. But I also wanted to give a voice to others because I realized that while I've repatriated under a wide range of scenarios, there's still many more out there. So, that was the first reason. But the second reason, my second why, is because I continue to live an international lifestyle. So I feel like my repatriation is sort of ongoing. And there's also always more for me to learn as well. So it's a bit of a give and take. And that's why I wanted to work on this with you. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I love it. I just think that it's been such a joy to have a soulmate on this particular journey. So tell us, how many repatriations have you had?
Well, I've had 3 as a student. So I spent time in the Netherlands, Norway, and France. And I used to discount those. But I've since learned, when I've repatriated twice from Tokyo and once from London, that the experiences I had in those previous repatriations actually set me up for success with the later ones. So I've gotten around. And the one common thread is that I was never ready to leave any of my host countries. So I feel like there were a lot of learnings related to that as well, because I found a way to be successful eventually after my repatriations.
Well, that really is the heart and the crux of the matter, because this is true for me also. I was ready to leave one of them, definitely, but none of the other countries that I've lived in have I really been fully prepared. But as the more I did it, the more I realized there was something in the middle of that process that was really going to propel me to the next level of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I am here to say that I have had sort of 3.5 repatriations. I moved from Dubai to the United States with a new husband a few decades ago. And he was going through repatriation, and I was going through massive culture shock. And so that's why I call it my half, because I got a very close, upfront, ringside seat to how disruptive this can be.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that not only can it be the most disruptive process of one's life, it can also be the most healing and the most joyful and the most productive. And I would say that my last repatriation from Saudi Arabia back to the US, I call it a repatriation because by that time I had a passport and I had already lived in the US. And that was one of the most productive, self-improvement, natural up-leveling experiences I've ever had. And I just think that we spend 80% of our time focused on the logistics and only 20 on the process. And we need to teach people to flip that, because when you flip that, that's when you get the real gold dust.
I love that. It's beautiful. It's like, this is not an endpoint when we repatriate. It's just another chapter in our lives. And what do we want to do with that chapter? And so I'm hoping that these episodes will really inspire people to shift their mindset around repatriation.
Exactly. And what do we hope that people will get out of this series, Linda?
If I had to sum it up in one word, I think I would say hope. To realize that it is possible to have a successful repatriation and to continue, or maybe it's not even continue, maybe it's just restarting a life or recreating a life that is positive and productive, or whatever that you may want it to be. How about you? Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think hope and aspiration are great words for this. I was thinking that what I hope that people will get out of this is 3 things. The need for preparation, that preparing yourself as you move into the process, really important, because you're going to go through possibly one of the largest life transitions that you will ever experience. Number 1. Number 2, I would say helpful navigation. I hope that some of these speakers and guests that we have interviewed will provide you with some helpful navigation. And finally, I hope that this will absolutely frame the landing process as being a recovery process, because I do think it is a sense of recovering from either an amazing life or a challenging life, but whatever it was very different from the new life you're going to be living now. So we are Nomadic Diaries, the Reentry Series. And how many podcasts are there, Linda?
30 that we're going to put out there, but there's more. So we'll see what the future holds.
And how are we going to be sharing these with people? They're going to be on Apple and iHeartRadio, and they're going to be on Spotify. But we're also going to put them in our LinkedIn and our profiles and on our Substacks if we can, and on social media.
And we have a Facebook group
And
that we could invite all of you to join us in, please. And what is it called, Doreen?
The name of the Facebook group is Reentry Rockstars. Our goal with this is to help you feel like you are the rock star of your life and that you are absolutely winning at this life transition. Linda?
One of my favorite things is community, and that's one of the reasons that we have this Facebook group, because you're not alone on this journey. And there's so many people that have gone through something similar to you or are going to and would be happy to support you. So we really invite you to join us in this Facebook group to connect with other people that you can support, share what you've learned, and they can support you as well. And we'll have some fun in there.
Yeah, so let's have fun. Please reach out to us through Nomadic Diaries, through the Expat Partner Coach, through the Facebook group, Reentry Rockstars. Find us wherever you can and give us your reviews, your feedback, and any commentary. And we wish you the best, and we look forward to spending time with you in this month. Linda, any more comments?
No, I'm just so thrilled that you're here, that people are here, and we look forward to hearing from you throughout the month. Thanks, Doreen.
Thanks, Linda. We got to have our sign off. Sayonara, ma salama, e hasta luego.